Hey, it is John with Losing It with John, and today on the podcast, we're going to talk about 4 reasons why it gets harder to lose weight the next time you try. Who likes trying to lose weight or do anything that's harder? Who wants the harder version of it? Not me. I want the easier version. So let's try to get it solved this time rather than next time. Why? Because next time's going to be harder losing weight. I'm going to explain why that is in this episode, so stay tuned. Hi, my name is John Hoff, and I'm a personal development and weight loss coach. And on this podcast, I'm here to tell you all your dreams can come true. You just have to have the courage to pursue them and the desire to improve how you think, how you feel, and what you tell that person staring back at you in the mirror, what you're going to do today to make tomorrow one step closer to the life you want to live. No more telling yourself it's too hard. No more telling yourself you just can't do it. Let it be messy. Let it not be perfect, because there is no such thing. So stop telling yourself you can't do it, because you can. I believe in your power to change. You can manifest anything your heart desires. You just have to know how to direct the energy. Because whatever you believe is what you will receive. And I believe you are beautiful. I believe you can fit into the clothes you want to fit into. And I believe nothing can stop you from losing all the weight you want to lose. So let's talk about it. This is the Losing It with John podcast. All right, welcome to episode number 3. And you ever have those days where it just seems like everything is working against you? So like you open up your phone and it goes slow and you're just wanting to do something real quick, right? Or you're waiting for something in the mail and the mail person is taking extra time to get there. Or you want that certain drink. Like right now I have a Starbucks drink, and it's an iced latte made with coconut milk. But like maybe you go there and they're out of the thing that you wanted. Maybe that's the coconut milk, or the espresso machine isn't working. Have you ever had those kind of days that happen like that? Yeah, that's kind of my day today. It's all the little things, it's spring break right now, and I was going to take my kids out to something called the Valley of Fire on Friday. It's a place out here in Las Vegas, just outside of Las Vegas, really neat kind of deserty area with red rocks and everything like that, and trails, hiking trails and stuff. And it turns out on the day that I was going to go, a bunch of appointments popped up that I did not realize I was going to have. And then I tried to move them, and the people who were in those appointments, and this didn't have to do with coaching or anything. It was aside from that. It was something else. They're very rigid. They can't move their time. So kind of stuck with that. All good though. You're just going to kind of move around a little bit or something. But then there's the other thing where like, my parents, we bought lottery tickets. We have to drive out of Las Vegas to go get lottery tickets, because here in Vegas you can't do the lottery. So we drive to Arizona, and like my parents Zelled me the money, but because they wanted us to buy them lottery tickets, and that's fine, and it's all cool and everything. But like they Zelled it to my phone number, not my wife's, which they should have done my wife's. That's the one that they Zelle to normally. My phone number is not hooked up with Zelle. So now I get on the computer and I get into the online thing. It's like, what do I get? Okay, I got to add my phone number, and it just keeps saying error, try again later, error, try again later. And it's like, oh, just work, for crying out loud. And then like posting, I'm gonna post on Instagram. I set up a post, and then it wasn't posting, and I'm like, what's going on? And it just kept saying on my phone, posting. I'm like, why? And it's like half the day kept saying posting. So I'm like, all right, let me just restart my phone. So I restart the phone, I open up Instagram, and when I post to Instagram, it automatically posts to Facebook too, right? And there I see it in the drafts. So I click on the Instagram thing and I see my draft and I see all the content that I put in there, and the video, thankfully I already downloaded to my phone, so I had the video, but I see the content there, and then I hit post, and it says error, and it disappears, and the whole post is gone. I don't even have to draft anymore. All the content's gone. So, again, all right, not that big a deal, right? If that's the worst thing that happens in my day, then it's a good day, right? But then I just had to go back, load the video, and then I had to redo all the text that I put in there. And it's all those little things, right? It's all those little things that all on their own, it's a little minor inconvenience. But then you see the next one that's a minor inconvenience, and the next one, and the next one, and then all of a sudden they start stacking up, don't they? And when they stack up, then we start getting in a certain mood. and if it goes too long, we almost kind of just shut down. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just kind of like shut down because it's like, today is working against me. Today is just not my day. And I think that we really have to be, to a certain level, a self-coach to ourselves in those instances when those things happen. Because it's like, we know intuitively what we should do, right? You should just keep going. There is no magical force that is making John have a bad day outside of what I make my day, right? If I believe it's going to keep being a bad day or negative things happen, I keep focusing on those things, what are you going to keep seeing? You're going to keep seeing the trees in the forest that you're trying not to hit while you're skiing instead of looking at the path, right? We just want to look at the path. That's a little bit of a quote. Maybe I should mention that here. I'm going to take a drink of my Starbucks. Maybe that's a quote that I'll mention to you where I got that from, because it's a really, really, really good one. So there's a gentleman named Simon Sinek. He wrote the book. He has a number of books, but he wrote a book called Start With Why. So, I'm a little bit of an entrepreneur, right? I like to start a business, work on my own. I like to do my own thing. I don't really particularly enjoy working for like a normal job, right? So, call me a business owner, call me an entrepreneur, whatever you want to call me. But that being said, you have to learn how to talk and relate with people and things like that, like any job, whatever your job is. And so I read those kinds of books, and they're usually kind of personal development kind of books, because I believe wholeheartedly that you have to do what I consider my first mentor was Jim Rohn, a gentleman named Jim Rohn. And he said, you have to work harder on yourself than you do your job. And that's what I do. That's what I live my life by. So anyways, self-development stuff. That's what I was into before weight loss even. I was really, really into that, growing and evolving and working on myself. And anyways, I came to Simon Sinek's book, and I think I'm saying his last name right. But he has this video that's online that I really, really love. And he says, if you're a skier and you're skiing like in the woods, right? And there's a path ahead of you. And if you only focus on not hitting the trees, so you're going to be saying to yourself, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees. What are you always going to see? You're only going to be seeing trees, right? You're just going to be seeing the trees and what you're trying to avoid. But if, on the other hand, you only focus on the path ahead of you, the path that you should be taking, what are you going to be seeing more of? You're going to be seeing the path, right? That's where your focus is, the path, the path. Where's the path? The path that's getting you to your goal. So you have the choice to focus on all the obstacles, or you have the choice to focus on the path to get you there. And what a fantastic analogy. This is exactly what you should be thinking about when you are on your path to losing weight. You should be focusing on the path to get you there and not always looking at the obstacles. And that's like in my day today. If I just keep focusing on all those negative things that happen, all the obstacles that have been getting in my way, that's been slowing me down, the little frustrations, and then it builds and it builds and it builds, and I just keep seeing them, eventually I'll just want to like go sit on the couch or really like lay in my bed, put on Netflix, grab like for me it'd be like a protein bar or something. I don't eat crazy, like binge eat or anything like that. But I'll just like grab something to eat, grab a drink, put on Netflix, and maybe like 1923 or something, and just binge watch my shows. And then the day goes to hell. And maybe that's happened to you. Maybe you do that as well. Let me know. Always send me, respond to these if you have something, you hear something you want to like, hey, John, I want to tell John this or whatever. I'm recording these. I put them on YouTube. You can reply on there. Or the best way probably is just send me a DM on Instagram. Follow my Instagram account, Losing It with John. It's John Hoff 35, I believe, right? John Hoff 35. Okay, so let's dive into now the 4 big reasons why losing weight gets harder the next time. There's the first 2 are really kind of ones that I'll mention that you probably already know, and when I say it, you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I wasn't thinking about it, but yeah, that's absolutely, that makes sense, right? The third one you probably don't know. It might be new information to you. And then the fourth one is another one of those where you're probably not thinking about it, but when I say it, then you'll be like, oh, well, yeah, that is true, huh? So, okay, let's start out with the first one. First one is just very simple. Are you a male or female? Okay. Now, I'm not going down that rabbit hole of the whole gender thing going on right now. Let me tell you that right now. Okay, I'm not going down that thing. I am cool with whatever you identify yourself as. I'm just speaking for weight loss here, biology, okay? Male, female, biology, because that makes a difference when it comes to your metabolism, all right? So males just have this, I suppose you could say it's a head start, all right, with their metabolism. Their metabolism, the male metabolism burns more calories at rest than the female metabolism does. I know, I'm sorry, that it's not fair, and life, I realize it, life is not fair, but it is the reality of things. There's a few reasons why that is. One of them is just, listen, muscle takes more calories to maintain. So, for example, if you take Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay, you know him, right? He's the guy with the big muscles and everything, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then you take me, right? I got a little bit of muscle, but I'm no Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger's metabolism is moving faster, meaning sitting down, doing nothing, just watching TV. He is burning more calories than I am because he has more muscle than I do. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It takes more to maintain that muscle, more calories to maintain that muscle. Well, in general, a male has more muscle, lean muscle mass, than a female does. So it's little things like that in the biology that just we have a little bit faster metabolic rate. Okay. So that's the first one. Then that leads into, now why that makes it harder, or, why does that make that harder the next time? Well, it kind of plays into number 2 here. Number 1 and number 2 kind of go together. I just separated them out because I think it's important to know that distinction. But the next one is your age. How old are you? The older we get, the wiser we might get, but the slower our metabolism will be. And if you imagine it kind of like a race, okay, like in the Olympics where there's let's say the 500-meter race and they run in a circle, okay, they run around in a circle. And you know how like the people who are on the inside lane, they kind of have on the outside lane. The people on the outside lane, they have like that way big head start, right? Because the people on the inside lane, they are on the inside, so they run a shorter distance, where the people on the outside lane, they run a wider distance. So there's a little bit of a head start that they get at the start, but then they kind of even out at the end. Well, imagine if it didn't even out in the end. Imagine if instead of a circle, it was just a straight line that they raced. Well, the males they get that head start and the females are behind as far as metabolism goes and burning calories and stuff. And so then the male has that head start. Now that goes all through as we age. As we age, our metabolism slows down. So imagine now, if the difference between a 20-year-old and a 60-year-old, okay, the male metabolism is going to slow down, and so will the female metabolism. But the male metabolism is still higher simply because they were a male. Does this make sense? I hope it makes sense. Like I said, the first two are pretty easy to understand. What are you? Are you a male or a female? That will matter as far as your calorie burn. And then also your age. How old are you? So if you try now to lose weight, it's going to be a little bit easier than if you try 2 or 3 years from now, because you're younger right now. And you can use the youth on your side to help you, because you're burning more calories just sitting there watching Netflix, drinking your Starbucks coffee. Okay, so let's move on to number 3. Now this is the one that you probably haven't heard of before, and it's kind of a doozy, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. And this is going to be a very, very big reason why you want to lose the weight this time and keep it off, rather than lose the weight, gain it back, probably doing the story that, I've done in the past, pretty much all of my clients have done in the past, and that is you try something to lose weight and you lose the weight and it comes off, but after a while you kind of give up and you kind of gain the weight back, and then you try again, then you lose the weight and then you gain the weight, and it goes back and forth. Does that sound familiar at all? Here's why that is, okay? So I've got some, by the way, side note, you might hear some jets flying above here. We have Nellis Air Force Base here in Las Vegas, and I live out on the outskirts of town, kind of by the mountains, and it's their route to get to their training area. So every now and then we see some pretty cool helicopters and stuff. But when I'm recording a podcast, you just might hear a plane or something. Okay. Okay, so here's the number 3. When we let me put it this way. When we gain weight, let me start with that. I think it'll make more sense that way. When we gain weight, okay, and I'm talking about fat, okay, fat mass. I'm not talking about gaining weight with muscle. I'm talking about gaining weight with fat. What actually happens is your fat cells. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to show with my hands what we're doing here. You have so many fat cells, okay? You have a ton of fat cells. Let's just say for a moment, for simplicity's sake, it's 100 fat cells. Okay, now we're talking about thousands, but in the body. But let's just say for simplicity's sake, it's 100 fat cells that you have. Okay, and they're about the size of your fist, and you've got 100 of them. Then when you gain weight again, okay, so you go off plan, or you decide that I'm just going to eat how I want to eat. Down the road, I'll try losing weight again. So now you gain weight back, because now you go back to eating the way that you were. Your fat cells then get bigger. Okay, now you already have these fat cells. They're getting bigger, right? And then when your fat cells get bigger, you get heavier, right? You get bigger. Easy enough. You have this excess energy that you're consuming, these excess of calories that you're consuming, and they got to go somewhere. And if you're not using them through your metabolic rate, like your heart, your temperature control, and your hair growing, like I've said in the other episodes, and if you're not using them by movement, like your everyday movement, or through physical exercise that's planned, those calories got to go somewhere. Right? You don't just pee them out. They got to go somewhere. And where do they go? They get stored inside of you. And it gets stored as future energy. And that future energy is stored away as fat. So it says, well, you already have these fat cells. Let's go and inject it like a needle. Okay? I'm going to inject these excess of calories and sugar, all that kind of stuff. And now your fat cells are going to grow. They're going to get bigger. All right, so now that part I hope makes sense. Fat cells that you already have are going to get bigger, therefore you're going to gain weight and you're going to get bigger. You're going to have a different clothing size. Here's what also is happening. You are likely going to be gaining new fat cells this time around as well, okay? So instead of just 100 fat cells, and I'm making this at a very simplistic way, okay, of doing it, but just for examples here. Instead of having 100, now you're going to have 120 fat cells. So you grew new fat cells. You have new fat cells this time. So now your old ones are going to grow, and now you've got 20 new ones that popped up, and those are going to grow. And now you've gained back, however much weight. Let's just say you gained back 50 pounds, okay? You did it by making your current ones grow, and you grew new fat cells. You created new fat cells. All right. Now you're like, oh, it's months later, and you're like, look, I got to lose weight. I got to do this. I got to figure it out. So now you do something like, you go to the gym, you start counting calories, you try to eat good, and you're trying to eliminate sugar or something like that, and you lose the 50 pounds again. Sweet, done, right? Then life gets hard, and you start questioning what's going on. Why did my weight stall? It's not moving. I'm trying to get my 10,000 steps a day, and my weight still isn't budging. I hardly eat any sugar. I'm trying to eat the way that they telling me to eat online and everything, and this person is doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm not getting the same results. And then you just kind of give up. Like, oh, it's too hard. I can't do it. It's difficult. How do people do this? I like sugar too much. I like going out to eat too much. I like my dessert. So you gain the 50 pounds back. Well, guess what? Your biology says, all right, well, how are we going to do that? We're going to inflate those fat cells, the 120 that you had last time, but we're going to grow another 20. And now you have 140 fat cells. And then you repeat this process. And the next time you've got 160. And the next time you have 200 fat cells. So a couple years ago, you had 100 fat cells. And now, a couple years later, you've got 250 fat cells. Okay? Do you see where I'm going with this? So now you have more fat cells. The next time you want to lose weight, guess what? You have to contend with more fat cells that you need to shrink. These fat cells don't go away. They stay there. All they do is shrink and grow. Okay? And the more of them you have, the harder it is to lose the weight. And this is why what we aim to do is lose the weight this time around, because you've got a lot going against you when you're bouncing back and forth. You've got time working against you, okay, your age, whatever your gender is, that is, that's not really time-based, but it does factor in a bit. But then you have these fat cells. The more that you get, the harder it is to lose. All right? Okay, so I hope that one made sense. We want to avoid this. And once we lose the weight, all right, the more those fat cells that we have, here's the other side of it that you might not be thinking about right at this moment. And that is, the easier it's going to be to gain the weight back. So not only is it harder to lose weight the next time, it actually becomes easier and quicker to gain the weight back the next time. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that, like, as time goes on, the next time you try, or the next time you kind of let up a little bit, you gain the weight a lot easier. You gain the weight a lot faster. Part of that is your age. Part of that, gender plays into it. And the other part is you got more fat cells. They're waiting there and ready for you to feed them. And now this will bleed into things like comparison. I was actually thinking, like, maybe my next episode or an episode coming up about not comparing yourself with other people. But this is what leads into then when people start comparing themselves with other people. You see that, wow, well, that person's eating these foods. That person is, about my age. We're both females. We're both males, whatever it is. And what they're doing is making them lose weight, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm in the same program, and I'm not really losing as much weight. Or it seems more difficult, or whatever. Okay? Well, we're different. We're all different. Their stress level is different, and biologically, they're different. Their fat cells might be different. You might have more. They might have more. All right? So, okay, let's move on then to number 4. Now, number 4 is a little different. The first 3 were more about the physical aspects of you. Number 4 is the psychological aspect of it. All right. Our past failures have this tendency to reinforce our beliefs of how the future is going to go. Does that make sense? It's, Steve Jobs had said it once, and he said, the best way to predict the future is to look back at the past, because nobody can really predict the future. But your best roadmap to see how the future is going to go is by connecting the dots in the past. So if in the past, this dot and this dot and this dot and this dot all led to what you have now, then you can expect it all to go the same way in the future, unless something major changes. And so often, I don't know, maybe you're like me, And I look back in my past, and when it's something that is kind of negative, it really dampens the future outlook. They say depression is a thing of the past. We get depressed because of the past. You could say maybe the present too. But anxiety is worrying about the future. And they're very closely related. And your past is teaching you something. Now, life has this really weird way of working. You see, this is something that my mentor taught me, okay? He said that in school, you get the lesson first and then you take the test. In life, though, it's different, okay? As adults, it's all different. In real life, real world things, life gives you the test first and then you get the lesson. So we have been, our past, if you look back at it, our past experiences of trying to lose weight was, we took the test, right? And what we have today is what our answers were of that test. Now it's our job to look back at it and say, what can I learn from that? What do I need to study to make it different? Okay, we were taught the lesson. We were given the test. That gives us the lesson. Now, are we going to study the lesson? Or are we just going to not study the lesson and just let life happen to us again? Because it's going to keep doing it. And it's going to keep doing it. And it's going to keep doing it. And it's up to us to listen, pay attention, and to come to find the answers. Okay? The lessons are out there. But if we look at our past failures at losing weight and the struggles, and we keep looking at those trees that I talked about, right? All the obstacles that kept getting in the way. Well, this happened. Well, I had to have surgery on my arm. Well, there was this birthday and then that person's birthday, and then we went out to dinner, and then there was the vacation we went on, and it's just too many things that happened all at once. I mean, are our birthdays going to stop happening? Are you going to stop going on any kind of outings? You going to stop traveling? You stop going on vacations? You stop going out to dinner? Probably not. So we have to learn how to deal with those things. And it's going to get harder and harder each time down the road. If each time you want to lose weight, you look back at the last one, because now it's just another one stacked on top of, okay? So if you tried losing weight 10 times, now it's 11 times, and then it's 12 times, and then it's 13 times, then it's 14 times. And what that does is it just reinforces our thoughts and our beliefs that we can't lose weight and that it's too difficult. When in reality, you know it is possible for you. You know that there is a version of you that can do it. But if we focus on how it's been difficult each time, it gets harder, and it gets harder, and it gets harder. And it's a whole double whammy thing going on, because you have those physical things that I just talked about, the first three, and now you got this mental crap going on in your head, this mental game that you're playing, that you keep, when you've had these failures in the past, now all of a sudden you see all the things and all the reasons why it's going to be difficult. Just like if you buy a blue car, all of a sudden everybody on the road has a blue car, right? But before that, when you had a white car, you never saw blue cars. This is the same thing that happens here. And the more times that we try losing weight and fail, if we just keep focusing on those failures, we're going to get demotivated and it's just going to get harder. Okay? Okay. Well, that might have been a little deep. I don't know. My suggestion for you is to look at past failures as lessons that you can look back on and become a detective. Okay? I always say you need to be like a detective when it comes to your own weight loss journey. You have to look at and analyze. It's like the CSI, crime scene investigators. Yeah, that's it. And you need to look at the crime scene. All right, you tried losing weight. Something happened. It didn't work. Now you start asking questions. Why? Ask a bunch of why questions. And then follow that up with what ifs. Well, what if I would have done this? Well, what if I could? What could I have done? Right? Ask yourself some good questions. All right. Well, send me like I said, a DM on Instagram. That's Instagram. I'm at johnhoff35, and let me know what you thought. Make sure you follow me while you're there. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Losing It with John. I'll be posting these videos and a lot more because I like doing videos on YouTube. So make sure you follow me on YouTube as well. And if you would like to learn a little more from me, okay, I might have a little something for you if you go to my website, okay, a little free gift for you. Okay, go to losingitwithjohn.com/free. Okay, got a little something free there. I don't want to tell you what it is. And hey, you know what? It might change down the road because if I tell you now, and this is like a year from now, and you're listening to episode number 3 or number 4 or whatever it is, and I might have other cool things I want to share that's free or something. So if I say now, that might change. But you know what? Right now, I'm going to have something there for you. You might want to check out. It's all designed to help you lose weight and keep it off. That is what I am all about. I'm not about what helps you lose weight on a spreadsheet, okay? That is what diets are for. Diets are for a spreadsheet, a nice little spreadsheet, and you do these things and it's going to make you lose weight. And yes, they will make you lose weight. But we do not live our lives on a spreadsheet. We are freaking human beings, and we have emotions, we have feelings, we have things that happen, and we need to know how to deal with those things, and we need to not be overwhelmed. Raise your hand right now if losing weight seems a little bit overwhelming, and it's like you just don't know what is that next thing you need to do. What is tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Like if John Hoff was coaching me, what do I need to do tomorrow, right? Go to losingitwithjohn.com/free and check out what I got there for you. Okay, it should help you out. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.